Welcome back, everyone. President Bola Tinubu has reassured Nigerians that his administration would continue to prioritize workers' welfare, describing the country's labor force as the engine of the economy and the secret to the nation's growth. The president, who addressed all Nigerians from every walk of life, says, and I quote, "Together we'll make Nigeria great again. Our administration has and will continue to prioritize workers' welfare." End of quote. Joining me tonight to dissect this is the chairman NLC Lagos State Chapter, Funmi Sessi. Comrade, good evening to you. Thanks a lot for coming on the program. Thank you.
Good evening.
Right.
Thank you so much for bringing me on.
Thank you. So it's been, over 4 decades of celebrating Workers' Day. My first question to you is a Nigerian worker celebrated enough? Are Nigerian workers appreciated enough? Talk to us about the significance of this day in the lives of workers.
Thank you very much. Nigerian workers are not celebrated enough, and they are not being appreciated enough. If we have to equate how the workers are being treated in this country to how the workers are being treated in some other countries, you will, feel so sorry for the workers, that even the country that is blessed with so much deposit of solid minerals and God-given deposit of everything that could make us to be the best, to be one of the best among the committee of nations. But because of mismanagement, because of corruption, we have found ourselves where we are. Some countries that does not even have up to what God has endowed Nigerians, they are actually doing better. And when you hear about all the welfareism that they have or they are giving to the workers, the quality of life, the living wage, and so much more about the welfareism. And Nigeria priding ourselves as the giant of Africa. Honestly, it's so sad to see the way in which the workers are being treated in this part of the world.
Right.
It's nothing to write home about.
Right. I agree with you, comrade.
Inclusive of the minimum wage.
The theme of this year's May Day celebration is reclaiming the civic space in the midst of economic hardship. And we've also heard from Mr. President. He has pledged to improve the welfare of Nigerian workers. I wonder what this means to you.
Yeah, it means to us that the president also know and understand the kind of hardship the workers are passing through. Are we talking about how the workers have to surmount all the challenges of the economic downturn in this country, when what is approved as a new minimum wage is nothing to write home about? It's nowhere to take us near our home. It's not a living wage, but it's still a starvation wage because it couldn't meet up with the economic reality. What the labor was asking for during the negotiation was a far cry to what was approved or to what was granted, courtesy of the committee of the governors, who insisted that they cannot pay 100,000, they cannot pay 150,000. But the question is, these people that stood on the way for the workers to at least earn a respectable minimum wage, have they not, has the federal government not increased or improved the allocations to their various states? The allocation has tripled what they normally collect before this administration. And yet, some of these states have even refused to implement the new minimum wage of the 70,000 naira. Honestly speaking, I don't
But of
know
course, comrade,
how we get,
with what you just
this kind
said,
of set of leaders.
with what you just said, comrade, the next question would be, what exactly has the NLC done to hold these governors accountable? Has the NLC done enough in that regard?
Well, so many times NSC has tried to ensure that the implementation cut across and no state is being left behind. But sometimes our people are also the problem of themselves, because everybody need to hold their various governors in their various states. We need to hold them accountable. They are supposed to be accountable to the people. They are just one of us, but they are only privileged to have been choosing to lead the people. You voted them into the office. You should be able to ask them. You should be able to hold them accountable. Your minimum wage is in the hand of the governors of the states. The federal government has already taken care of in the budget for the new minimum wage of all the states. So why are they denying the people? I can say that we don't, in Lagos State, where I am the chairman of NSC, I think we are lucky to have a listening governor, to have a governor that does not really want to, have an head on shoulder or have any issue with the labor. Even though we have some little pockets of issues here and there. But we continue to dialogue, we continue to talk around it, we continue to seek for how to resolve some of those issues. Some of those issues are the ones that are being passed from the past administration. And we know the office is a continuous one. When you hear areas of year 2019, areas of year so, you wonder, is it this administration? But the office is a continuous one.
Absolutely.
Soldier go, soldier come, barracks remain. So it's still the state government, and by extension, all those other states. NSC National has tried so much. Anytime we hold our neck, because of that, they have called neck meetings about 4 different occasions, and they ask from each of the states, how are you, negotiating with your government so that they can commence the implementation for the workers. Workers are suffering everywhere, even for the places where the minimum wage has been implemented. It still could not meet up with the economic reality. Talk less of all these states that are now disenfranchising
And
these
rightfully
people.
stated,
So,
comrade, without workers, there is no society. Without labor, there is no development. Meanwhile, the organized labor has called on the federal government to ensure inclusiveness in policy making and guard against erosion of rights, such as free speech and association. I'm wondering, what exactly are the challenges?
yeah, there are so many challenges that workers have been faced with. When you talk about the economic reality on ground, that one is one side. The one you just mentioned about now, that you know, democracy is all about the government of the people, for the people, and by the people. So if it is democracy, we need to practice it in totality. We don't need to bring some form of autocracy into it, or militocracy into democracy. So if they are practicing democracy in real sense of it in countries that are advanced, Nigeria is also advanced enough to practice democracy in truth and in totality. So what we are saying is that there are so many of these freedoms and the rights and the privileges of Nigerians. So the government should not erode on these rights and the privileges of the people.
All right.
Part of the privileges and the rights of the people is a right to a decent living, is a right to have right to have education, right to have good health, right to have everybody should have a right to a decent living, a decent work environment.
All right.
So many of these rights.
Right.
Right to having good water, right to have, so, and all these rights, where
All
are
right.
they? You cannot have, in the midst of ocean, you are still thirsty. The water is not there, running through your taps in your homes. So everybody has turned to managers and managresses. You have to manage your life by yourself, because those rights are not there again. The privileges we are supposed to enjoy is not left for only very few privileged Nigerians.
And
Only very
it's
few.
also sad, comrade, To hear directly from Joe Ajero that the salaries of some workers are currently lower than what they were receiving before the implementation of the new minimum wage, owing to taxation and inflation. Also, according to him, some governors only added 5,000 naira to workers' salary. And you and I know that ordinary workers cannot hold these governors accountable, and that's why they have the NLC. In commemoration of this day, how do you charge your other colleagues, your colleagues in other states?
Yeah, our colleagues, they should also, wake up from their slumber. I think if they are, in the sleeping mode, they should wake themselves up, or and they should now organize themselves and mobilize themselves to ensure that what is due to them, their rights, they should not continue to deny them of their rights. It's their right. It's now being, in the law of the country that any worker, any employer of labor that have from 20 workers and above, you must implement the new minimum wage. In fact, initially when the minimum wage was being in contention, it was to be implemented for every worker. Either you are a one worker with someone, maybe you are a driver in a family home, and they also have a maid. What it was meant for before, what the minimum wage was supposed to cover, is to cover even all those type of people, everybody. But one way or the other, when it goes to the assembly, and they are the lawmakers, probably they are also thinking about themselves, how it will affect them if they now include everybody, because they will make use of drivers, and they will also have aides in their homes. So they were thinking probably of maybe they will not be able to, and they remove this part of these people that they now brought up this law that any employer of labor from 20 and above should
All right.
implement the new
And
minimum wage.
comrade,
Labor did not really labor NLC labor did not really appreciate this stance of government,
all right.
and how those people were expunged from the law. We
All
still
right,
continue
comrade.
to
And
dialogue on it.
the other important question is whether or not your colleagues in other states have what it takes to hold these governors accountable. But my last question to you would be about the plight of pensioners in Nigeria. The last time we had a conversation, the federal government approved a 28% pay rise for pensioners under the defined benefit scheme. What more can the Bola Tinubu administration do to better or ensure that pensioners are treated better in Nigeria?
It's so disheartening that at this time we still have to be talking about the issues that the pensioners are being faced with, because during the administration of Obasanjo, he introduced the contributory pension scheme, and then every worker supposed to have been, after a certain period of time, to be moved to the contributory pension scheme. But this CPS is only also working in few states in Nigeria. In fact, less than one-third of the states has implemented the contributory pension. About 10 states has implemented. All other states are yet to implement the contributory pension. And we are where we are, where people continue to suffer, where after their hard work, and they need to rest. And you won't believe it that some years back, some people that retired, they will now ask them to come to Abuja for
All right,
verification
then.
from Lagos.
All right.
And like as they are doing that, taking a ride, because some of them might not be able to afford their flight.
All right,
To
comrade.
Abuja.
Sadly, we're out of time, but I mean, the president has spoken, and we trust that he keeps to his promise. And let me say thank you to you, Comrade Funmi Sessi, who's a chairman,
Thank you
NLC,
so much.
Lagos State Chapter.
My parting word is that we want this administration of Bola Tinubu to wipe away the tears of Nigerians,
All right.
not to add to this the pains and the stress
All right.
Nigerians are being faced
All
with on
right.
daily
Thank you so
basis.
much,
We,
Kev
we will
Courage.
appreciate
Thank
him
you.
for doing that.
That's quite
Thank you.
instructive. Thanks a lot. All right. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. That marks the end of today's episode of Politics Tonight. But before we go, let's tell you that the views and reactions of our resource persons are theirs and have no connection with TVC News. Meanwhile, you can watch the repeat broadcast of this episode at midnight. Get in touch with us on our social media handles, Facebook, Instagram, and X at TVC News NG and at Olajumoke. We're using the hashtag Politics Tonight. We're also on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News NG. I am Olajumoke Olatuji. Have a great weekend, everyone. Good night.